Ladies, let's talk about something that we all have in common. Those trusty closed-toe shoes we wear day in and day out. You know, the flats that never fail you on a busy shopping trip. The sneakers that carry you through your morning walks. And the loafers that are just too comfortable to resist. But here's the thing. What if I told you these same shoes might be the cause of that mysterious foot odor we all dread? I used to wear my favorite flats everywhere. They were cute, comfortable, and just versatile enough to go with almost anything. I could slip them on for a trip to the grocery store, wear them to run errands, or even pair them with a nice pair of jeans for a casual outing. But then one day, something hit me. I was at a family gathering, taking off my shoes, when I noticed that, well, they didn't exactly smell like roses. In fact, they didn't smell like anything pleasant at all. My feet felt fine, but there was a sour undertone that lingered. And that's when I realized the flats I thought were my perfect go-to shoes were actually the ones contributing to the problem. So why do closed-toe shoes cause foot odor, especially as we age? The issue lies in something we don't always think about: the lack of ventilation. When you wear shoes like flats, sneakers, or loafers, your feet are essentially trapped inside them for hours at a time. The natural moisture our feet produce has nowhere to escape. Now, I don't know about you, but as I've gotten older, I've noticed my feet sweat more than they used to. It's not even the hot days. It's just the fact that my skin's a little less resilient, and my sweat glands are working overtime. Combine that with the warm, enclosed environment of a closed-toe shoe, and it's a recipe for disaster. Moisture builds up, and before you know it, bacteria starts to thrive. And guess what bacteria smells like? Well, you don't need me to tell you. It's not the fresh scent we want, that's for sure. As we age, our skin produces less collagen, and that means it doesn't shed as efficiently as it used to. The buildup of sweat, oils, and dead skin cells in your closed-toe shoes creates a sticky situation that's almost impossible to avoid. We might think we're doing all the right things, washing our feet, using powders, and keeping our shoes clean. But even the best of us can overlook the hidden spots like the areas between our toes or inside the shoe itself. And the thing is, we often don't realize how bad it's gotten. As we age, our sense of smell can change, and we might not notice how our shoes are affecting our scent until someone else does. Trust me, I learned this the hard way, after my little moment at that family gathering. So what can we do about it? The good news is, there are simple steps we can take to keep our feet and our shoes fresh. First, let's talk about insoles. If you haven't already, it might be time to invest in breathable insoles. You can get ones made from moisture-wicking materials that help absorb sweat and keep your feet dry. And for a little extra freshness, sprinkle some foot powder or baking soda inside your shoes to keep moisture from accumulating. Next up, don't forget about your socks. When you wear closed-toe shoes, make sure you're wearing socks that can absorb sweat without trapping it in. Cotton socks work, but breathable moisture-wicking materials, like bamboo or merino wool, are even better. And remember, keep your socks clean. If you're wearing the same pair day after day, that odor is bound to build up. But here's the real game changer I discovered: rotating your shoes. You heard me right. Give each pair a chance to breathe between wearings. If you're like me and wear your sneakers daily, you might be surprised at how much better they smell if you alternate with another pair. And one final tip I learned: wash your shoes. Yes, even your flats and loafers can handle a little washing. Use a damp cloth to wipe them down regularly, and when possible, toss them in the washing machine, if they're machine washable, or clean them with a shoe-specific cleaner. It'll make a world of difference. After I started paying attention to these little changes, investing in good insoles, using powder, rotating my shoes, I noticed a huge difference. Not only did my feet feel more comfortable, but the smell? Gone. Completely gone. And here's the best part. I didn't need to sacrifice style for freshness. My favorite flats are still my go-to shoes. But now they no longer come with the unwanted sidekick of foot odor. So, ladies, if you've been battling that mysterious foot odor, and you've been blaming everything from the humidity to the dog, it might just be time to take a closer look at your closed-toe shoes. A few simple tweaks and you'll be walking through life, not just in style, but with fresh feet that no one can detect, except for how confident you'll feel. All right, ladies. If you thought closed-toe shoes were the only culprit behind foot odor, let me surprise you. I've got a second offender that's probably sitting in your closet right now. Sandals with straps. Yes, those cute, breathable sandals we all love to wear in the warmer months, like Birkenstocks, Gladiators, and those heeled sandals that make your legs look fabulous. But here's the kicker. While they're open and airy, they might not be as fresh as you think. Let me share something with you. I had a beautiful pair of Gladiator sandals that I adored. They were my summer go-to, comfortable and trendy. I wore them all the time. But one evening, after a day spent walking around the park and running errands, I took them off at home and noticed something. An odd smell. Not the fresh, breezy summer scent you'd expect, but a funky, musty aroma that made me pause. How could it be? These sandals had open sides and plenty of airflow. But then I realized the straps. The straps were the problem. Now let's break it down. While sandals with straps allow your feet to breathe better than closed-toe shoes, they come with their own set of challenges. For one, the straps tend to rub against your skin, creating little friction spots that trap sweat and moisture. And if you're like me, even on the warmest days, sweat can still build up on your feet, especially in the small creases and spaces between the straps. The real issue with sandals, however, is the combination of exposure and contact. While your feet might have more air, the exposed parts are still in contact with the straps, which can be made from synthetic materials like leather or plastic. These materials don't breathe the same way your feet do, and they can cause sweat to get trapped under the straps. This trapped moisture can then become a breeding ground for bacteria, which is what leads to that unpleasant odor. Plus, let's talk about the feet themselves. As we get older, circulation isn't quite as good, and moisture doesn't evaporate as easily as it did in our younger years. Add that to the fact that we might not be as quick to notice when our feet start to get damp, and suddenly, you've got the perfect storm for foot odor, no matter how cute those sandals are. Here's the thing. We often don't realize how much the skin changes as we get older. Skin becomes thinner, and sweat glands work differently. What used to be a little light sweat now becomes more persistent moisture that doesn't dry as quickly. In addition, as we age, the body's natural oils can build up, and they combine with sweat and dead skin cells in places like the spots where your straps press against your feet. Over time, this can create an odor that's tough to get rid of. And it's not just the sandals themselves. Think about the places you wear them. The beach, the park, outdoor cafes. Lots of moisture and dirt on the ground, right? Your sandals may pick up more than just dust. They can get damp from walking on wet grass or in the rain, making it even easier for bacteria to thrive. Now, don't worry. I've got a few tricks up my sleeve to keep those sandals fresh. First off, let's talk about washing the straps. If your sandals are made of leather or another material that allows it, Wipe them down regularly with a damp cloth and a bit of mild soap to remove any buildup. And if the straps are synthetic, you can wipe them down too. Just make sure to dry them thoroughly afterwards so the moisture doesn't get trapped in the material. For the feet themselves, let's get back to basics. Wash your feet properly every day, and don't just give them a quick rinse. Take a moment to scrub around the areas where the straps touch. Use a gentle exfoliating scrub or a soft washcloth to remove dead skin cells, and make sure you dry between your toes and along your arches. That moisture-free feeling will help keep any unwanted odors at bay. And here's something I started doing that made a big difference. After washing my feet, I use a moisture-wicking foot powder. Not only does it keep your feet dry, but it also helps prevent the sweat from accumulating in the first place. If you're on the go, you can even carry a small bottle in your bag to freshen up during the day. But the real game changer here is the rotation method. Just like with closed-toe shoes, your sandals need time to breathe too. Alternate between your sandals. Give them a chance to air out overnight, and here's the trick. Put them in the sun. If you can, place them on a windowsill to dry completely before wearing them again. The sun not only helps with drying, but also works as a natural disinfectant, killing bacteria and keeping them smelling fresh. So, while sandals with straps might seem like the ultimate solution to keeping your feet cool, they need some extra attention to stay fresh. A little care goes a long way, and with the right steps, you can keep your sandals and your feet smelling great all summer long. It wasn't until I started giving my sandals the attention they needed that I realized just how much of a difference it makes. Once I started cleaning them regularly, using foot powder and rotating my shoes, my feet felt fresher, and the odors were no longer a problem. Now I can wear my favorite sandals without worrying about them giving off an unpleasant scent. Just a bit of sunshine and fresh air, just like my feet deserve. All right, we've covered the sandals and closed-toe shoes, but now we need to talk about a big one. Sneakers. Yes, those trusty athletic shoes we rely on for everything from walking to running errands to simply giving our feet that much needed support. I'll admit, I used to think sneakers were the least of my worries when it came to foot odor. After all, they're breathable, right? They're designed to keep your feet cool and dry. But, my friends, let me tell you, they're actually one of the worst offenders when it comes to stinky feet, especially as we age. I had a pair of old gym sneakers that I just couldn't let go of. They were comfortable. They had the right amount of support, and hey, I hadn't worn them in years but kept them around for the just-in-case moments. But the more I wore them, the more I noticed something unpleasant happening. After an afternoon in the garden or a quick walk to the store, I'd take off my sneakers and, well, let's just say they didn't exactly smell like roses. It took me a while to connect the dots, but I eventually realized those sneakers were the culprits. Here's why sneakers are so problematic when it comes to foot odor. Unlike sandals or other open shoes, sneakers are completely enclosed. That means your feet are trapped inside, often for hours at a time, with little room to breathe. And let's be honest, no matter how much we try to avoid it, feet sweat. It's natural. In fact, each foot has over 250,000 sweat glands. And those sweat glands, when confined to a sneaker, create a perfect storm for odor. The moisture from sweat gets trapped inside the shoe, and the more you wear them, the worse it gets. But wait, there's more. Sneakers are often made from synthetic materials like mesh or rubber, which might sound great in theory because they're lightweight and breathable. But they don't always absorb moisture well. And even worse, some materials can hold on to odors longer than others. Your feet might dry off, But the dampness that lingers in the insoles and seams of the shoe creates a cozy little environment for bacteria to grow. And don't forget the added pressure of walking or exercising in them. The constant movement, combined with the heat generated inside the shoe, turns your sneakers into a breeding ground for bacteria. Combine sweat with bacteria and dead skin cells, and you've got a recipe for that familiar funky smell we've all been there with. Let's talk about aging for a second. As we get older, our feet change in ways we may not always notice. The skin on our feet becomes thinner, and the natural oils that help protect and moisturize our skin start to diminish. This makes our feet more prone to irritation and, you guessed it, more likely to develop infections like athlete's foot. As if that weren't enough, many of us tend to become less active as we get older, which means we might be wearing the same sneakers for longer periods without switching them out. This constant wearing of the same pair of shoes, especially if they aren't properly cleaned or aired out, sets the stage for a serious foot odor problem. And while we may not think about it, our circulation slows down with age, which means that the moisture on our feet doesn't evaporate as quickly as it did in our younger years. So the sweat that accumulates in the shoes doesn't dry up. It stays there longer, giving bacteria the time they need to set up shop. The result? Even if you don't notice it right away, your sneakers are silently causing that pungent odor. Now, let's move on to the solutions. The good news is that there are simple steps you can take to combat sneaker odor and keep your feet and your sneakers fresh and clean. First things first, rotate your sneakers. Just like with other shoes, give them a chance to air out. Don't wear the same pair every single day. Alternate between different pairs of sneakers so the ones you wear get a chance to dry out between uses. And when you're not wearing them, take out the insoles and let them breathe. This small step will make a huge difference. But what about cleaning? We all know that sneakers can get pretty dirty, especially if you wear them outdoors. But cleaning them regularly will help keep the odor under control. Start by cleaning the outside with a damp cloth and mild detergent. For the inside, make sure to wipe down the insoles and allow them to dry completely after every use. You can also put your sneakers in the washing machine. Check the manufacturer's guidelines first, of course, to give them a deep clean. Just make sure to air dry them afterward. Don't throw them in the dryer. Now, if you really want to get serious about odor control, use foot powder or antiperspirant. You can sprinkle a little foot powder inside your sneakers to absorb excess moisture before putting them on. Or use a specialized foot antiperspirant to keep your feet dry all day long. And remember, baking soda is your friend. Sprinkle a little bit of baking soda in your sneakers overnight to neutralize odors. Just make sure to shake it out before wearing them again. Another trick is to use activated charcoal insoles. These work wonders to absorb moisture and bacteria, keeping your shoes and feet smelling fresh. You can find these insoles at most drugstores or online, and they're a simple way to prevent odor buildup. And here's my favorite tip. Freeze your sneakers. No, I'm not kidding. If you have a particularly smelly pair of sneakers, try putting them in a plastic bag and sticking them in the freezer overnight. The cold will kill the bacteria that cause the odor, leaving your sneakers fresh as a daisy. So, while sneakers are undeniably comfortable and convenient, they need a little more attention than we may realize. Taking just a few extra minutes to rotate, clean, and freshen up your sneakers will help keep foot odor at bay. And more importantly, your feet will thank you. I know from personal experience that a little care goes a long way. When I started, rotating my sneakers using foot powder and regularly cleaning my shoes, the smell was completely gone. Now, I can go about my day feeling fresh, confident, and odor-free. So, ladies, don't let your sneakers be the reason you're walking around with a mystery scent. Show them some love, and you'll walk with confidence, knowing that your feet are fresh and fabulous. Trust me, your future self will thank you. So, we've covered sandals, closed-toe shoes, and even sneakers. And you're probably thinking, okay, I get it. I need to treat my shoes with a little more respect. And you're absolutely right. But here's the good news. Foot odor doesn't have to be a permanent guest in your life. With just a few small changes to your routine, you can enjoy fresh, clean feet no matter what shoes you love to wear. And trust me, it's easier than you think. I know what you might be thinking, but I've tried everything and still can't shake that smell. Well, darling, you're not alone. Foot odor is more common than we think, and it's a part of aging that most of us don't always talk about. But the important thing is that we don't have to just accept it. There's a lot we can do to get ahead of it. Let's break it down into a few easy steps. By now, you're probably well versed in the idea of rotating your shoes, cleaning them regularly, and using powders and sprays to keep your feet dry. But the truth is, prevention is key. And while it might sound too simple, a little bit of maintenance can go a long way. Now, I don't want to leave you hanging, so here's the complete foot care routine I follow. You can mix and match these depending on what works best for you. But trust me, if you stick to this, you'll be amazed at the difference it makes. First, and most importantly, wash your feet daily. Sounds simple, right? But as we get older, we sometimes forget to do the little things. Give your feet a good scrub with mild soap and warm water every day. Don't skip between the toes. It's a small step, but it helps remove the sweat, dead skin, and grime that can build up throughout the day. Use a soft washcloth or even a gentle foot brush to make sure you clean every nook and cranny. Once your feet are clean, don't forget the most important step: drying. Moisture is the enemy when it comes to foot odor, and if your feet stay damp, you're setting yourself up for trouble. Pat them dry gently with a clean towel, and make sure to get in between those toes. You'd be surprised how many people skip this step and end up dealing with fungal infections like athlete's foot, or just the general smell that comes with damp feet. After your feet are dry, give them a little extra love with some foot powder or an antiperspirant. This step is great if you know you're going to be wearing shoes for an extended period of time. It keeps your feet dry and helps to prevent any sweat buildup. Baking soda works great for this, but you can also find foot-specific powders at most stores. Let's not forget about the importance of socks. Change them regularly, especially if your feet get sweaty. Look for socks made of natural fabrics like cotton or wool, as they're much better at absorbing moisture than synthetic fabrics. And don't be afraid to toss socks that are starting to look worn out. They just might be contributing to that unpleasant smell. We've mentioned it before, but it bears repeating. Don't wear the same pair of shoes every day. Just like your feet need a break, your shoes do too. Give them a chance to air out in between wearings. And if you can, leave them in a well-ventilated spot to dry overnight. Inserts or footbeds are a great option if you want to go the extra mile. Look for ones that are designed to absorb moisture and neutralize odors. You can find antimicrobial or antibacterial inserts that will do wonders for keeping your shoes fresh. Remember, it's not just about your feet, it's also about the shoes themselves. So here are a few additional tips to keep your shoes in tip-top shape. Clean regularly. You know that spot you've been meaning to clean? Go ahead and give it some attention. Regularly wipe down the inside of your shoes and use antibacterial sprays or powders to help neutralize any odors that might be building up. You'd be amazed how a little attention to detail can make a big difference. Let your shoes breathe. After a long day of walking or running errands, give your shoes the chance to air out. Take out the insoles, loosen the laces, and let the shoes dry. If you can, leave them in the sun for a bit. Just be careful with leather shoes, as too much sun can damage them. Don't forget the insoles. As I mentioned earlier, the insoles are often the biggest culprits when it comes to odor. So clean them regularly, and if they're too worn out, replace them. It's an easy fix that can prevent a lot of headaches or foot aches. Ladies, fresh feet are totally achievable. It might feel like a small task, but it's these daily habits that will keep you walking tall, feeling confident, and smelling great. Aging doesn't have to come with a side of stinky feet. We don't have to let it. With a bit of care and some smart choices about the shoes we wear, we can enjoy both comfort and freshness as we move through life. So, whether you're running, errands, taking a walk, or just lounging around the house, keep your feet clean, dry, and happy. You deserve it. And remember, don't let a shoe odor stop you from living your best life. Keep it fresh, stay fabulous, and keep those feet smelling just as youthful as you feel. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more savvy senior advice. Stay fresh, stay radiant, and remember, your feet deserve a standing ovation. If you found these tips helpful and want to stay on top of all things wellness and confidence, make sure to hit that like button, share this with your friends, and subscribe to the Savvy Senior channel for more. Drop a comment below and let me know what works best for your feet. I'd love to hear your tips. Keep walking with confidence, and remember, fresh feet are just a few steps away.